About a year ago, I came home from the store with my very first special edition Switch, the Animal Crossing Edition. I had only owned a Switch for about a month, had absolutely fallen in love with the console. These guys were actually really hard to come by. I managed to snag this in the store. At the time, they were reselling for between like $600 and $800 on Amazon. But I looked at this and I just couldn't bring myself to part with this one. Everything from the distinctive console design to the box art to the game that it was associated with was just magnetic to me. Fast forward to just this week, the Monster Hunter Rise Edition Switch shows up at my doorstep, completing my collection of special edition Switch consoles. Ever since getting my first one, I really fell in love with just the art and the fanfare and the hype associated with each one. And very soon after I got my first one, I had the idea, what if I was able to get all of these and make a killer YouTube video about it? And that's exactly what I'm going to do in this one. I'm gonna show you guys each one of these in detail. I'm gonna take them all out of the box and give you guys close-ups. And I'm also going to talk about each one, what I like about it, how I got it, and how much I paid. And before I jump in, I should note that a few months ago we did have a break-in here. About half of these Switches were stolen from our house. Since then, I was able to use insurance money to recover everything that was taken at no cost to me, so it all worked out really well. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be telling the stories of how I originally got them, rather than So without further ado, I say we just get right into this. I'm gonna start out right here with the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Switch. Now, I don't actually consider this a special edition. That's why I wanted to start with it. I don't count it in my special edition collection. Reason being, I think this is more of a box variant. The Switch itself and the Joy-Cons don't have anything special about them, so while this box art is really cool, I really like how the dark and light colors really play well with the dark and light of the Switch itself. Since there's nothing really special about the Switch, we're not going to count it for our purposes, but wanted to show it off anyway. Up next, I'll go ahead and talk about the only Switch Lite in this collection, the forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce the name completely. Is it Zacian and Zamazenta Edition Switch Lite from Pokemon Sword and Shield? Honestly, I really like this Switch Lite. You can see on the back, it's got the designs of the legendary dogs on the back there. The three biggest things that I look for in a special edition Switch is, one, is it truly distinctive, and how far did they go with the design of both the console and also the box art? Because like the biggest thing that I do with these, I don't play them, which some people may disagree with. They may say, why do you have a system if you're not even going to play it? But I really appreciate the art of it, and so the box art is definitely an important part for me. I think the box art on this is great and it complements the theming of the actual system really well. I like that they made the shell of the console a color that we haven't seen before and also did custom buttons on it. I just think it's a really good job overall and appreciate the Switch Lite. The way that I got it was I found it listed on Facebook Marketplace for $250 complete in box. And I knew this is one that I wanted, so I went ahead and offered $200. The guy accepted it and I ended up being able to get this for original retail price, even though I was not collecting Switches when this originally came out, so I was definitely happy with that deal. Up next, I will talk about the Diablo 3 Eternal Collection Edition Switch. This is one that I actually traded to a friend. This is one of the last ones that I needed for the collection because I don't play Diablo, never have, probably never will. It's not a franchise that I'm all that attached to at all. So I kind of put off getting this one because it goes for over $600 online. And at the time that I was actually looking to get this, I couldn't find one for under like $800 or $900. So I reached out on my Discord. I said, hey, does anybody have this? I knew that my friend who's been in there for a long time did, and I ended up actually trading him one of these. I ordered one of these online, had it shipped from Japan to him to trade him for this one because it ended up being a little bit cheaper for me. and this is kind of his dream Switch, so he was happy with the deal as well. Anyway, this thing's worth in the neighborhood of $600 to $800, definitely one of the more expensive ones. I'm not honestly all that attached to it. I don't like that they didn't do anything with the Joy-Con design. Really, the only design features to speak of are here on the dock and a little bit on the back of the Switch, which I think is kind of meh. I do like that they included the custom case. I think that's just a nice feature for special edition Switches to have. I'll give you guys a look at the back of the box here as well. But honestly, gotta say this one is not one of my favorites, even though it is one of the more expensive ones. Up next, I suppose it's fitting that we should talk about this one now since I just traded one, is the Dragon Quest Edition Switch. This Switch is very near and dear to my heart. This is the first Japanese exclusive Switch that I ever got my hands on, and I was just totally infatuated with it. I actually did an entire 4 or 5 video series about me getting this Switch because I did a challenge with myself trying to take one individual Switch game and buy and sell and trade my way all the way up to a really expensive special edition Switch console. This one, if you bought it today, would run you probably between $550 and $750 or so. At the time, these were actually more expensive, so I had to pay up at $800 for this one, which is upsetting in retrospect, but it did come with this super awesome edition, which I have to show you guys as well. The Slime Edition Nintendo Switch controller. I can't even believe that this is a controller. It's sealed or else I would get it out for you guys, but you can see the trigger buttons are on the back here. You're actually meant to hold this thing upside down like this with your fingers up here, and on the bottom of it are like the A and B and X and Y and everything. So this, I would say, definitely has to take the cake for strangest Nintendo Switch controller ever made, at least to my knowledge. So I was happy. That one goes for around $100. Happy to get this with this console bundle. Oh yeah, here's the rear art on that as well. This one, I've got to say, with its vibrant blue Joy-Cons and just some little design features here and there, I like that it came with this special edition of the game. I love that I have the controller for it. This may be my personal favorite special edition Switch of all time, which is weird because I've played very little of the Dragon Quest games, but I just think this design is really awesome. Then I guess I'll just go ahead and talk about the Monster Hunter Rise Edition Switch, which is the one that I got most recently. This is the only one that I actually had to pay more than $300 for. Original retail of this was $370 because it did come with a special edition of the Monster Hunter Rise game. And I think overall this console is just okay, to be honest. I think that the box design is good. I like how dynamic it is, but again, we have some standard Joy-Con colors, and really the only special feature is just like some printing that they did on the front of it and on the back of the Switch and on the dock, which to me, honestly, seems kind of low effort. I'm not a huge fan of that approach. Some people might like the more minimalistic style. Totally get that. It's just not really me. I really would have liked to see them be a little bit more out there with this. And honestly, the same goes for the original Monster Hunter Switch, which many people may not actually realize exists because it was a Japanese exclusive. On this one, you can see the Joy-Cons. They don't actually have any design on them at all, so this would honestly probably be worse than the Monster Hunter Rise in my rankings, which, by the way, at some point soon, I do want to do probably a live stream of me reviewing and ranking on a tier list every special edition Switch. If that's something you guys would be interested in seeing, definitely subscribe to the channel and turn the notifications on so you'll know like when I go live and stuff. Or you can also do that and like the video if you just want to, you know, show a little bit of support for what is by far the most expensive video that this relatively small channel has ever made. So definitely appreciate you guys for doing that. But yeah, oh, here's the back of this box as well. Honestly, both the Monster Hunter and the Monster Hunter Rise Switch would not be high on my list just because of their relatively lacking design features. I'm gonna restack some of this back here. The background's starting to look a little bit sparse. That's a little better at least. So here we have the Splatoon 2 Edition Switch. This is another one that So at the time that this released, the pink and green Joy-Cons actually had not been seen at all. So I'll give them a little bit of credit for that. The fact that they didn't do anything with the dock or actual console though is definitely a strike in my book. It does come with that custom carrying case that I do like to see with special editions. The box art, you know, is pretty good, definitely reminiscent of Splatoon itself. One fun fact for you guys is that actually these Joy-Cons, you can buy pink and green Joy-Cons on the shelves at stores now, but these are actually reversed. So it is technically a special Joy-Con pairing if you have the left green and the right pink. But other than that, I really see this as another special edition that is pretty lacking in effort, even though I do like the case and the box design. The way that I got this console was actually kind of unique. I reached out on Instagram in my stories. I said, hey, does anybody have a special edition Switch for sale? I'm trying to, you know, add more to my collection. This was back like 7 or 8 months ago. And I had a follower reach out. He did have one and it was complete in the box. So I ended up buying it for a pretty good deal. I think $430, and I believe these are more expensive, more in the $600 or $700 range now. Last I checked. I checked a couple months ago, so it may have gone up or down since then, but overall, again, I would say not my favorite. The Smash Bros. Edition Switch. This one definitely has a special place in my heart as well, because Smash Bros. Ultimate is easily one of my top 5 favorite games on the Switch, probably top 3. I would say it probably goes Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, and then Smash Ultimate. I think the box design on this is top tier, one of the best for sure. I love just the hand-drawn, almost like colored pencil looking kind of art style on this corner of the box. As far as the console itself, again, I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe I was spoiled with my first Animal Crossing Edition Switch console. I would have liked to see them go farther. I would have liked to see some actual special edition Joy-Cons rather than just, you know, a couple of lines on them. I think that the dock is okay. Again, this was another pretty early edition, so I don't know how far at that time they were really looking to go. I really like the back of this one as well. I think that's just very eye-catching and feels very Smash Bros, very character selection-y. So on the whole, I like this one a lot. I just wish they would have done more. The way that I got this was interesting as well. I had another Discord member reach out to me who knows that I was on the lookout for these with a link to an obscure auction site where a guy was selling one of these for $300. I was like, surely not original retail on a special edition Switch, because these go for more like $500 to $600 and even more on Amazon right now. So I bought it, it got here, it was complete and everything, it was legit, I tested it out, it worked, so I somehow managed to get this system for $300, which was absolutely fantastic. By the way, as I'm putting some of these back, I did want to say that I'm not going to end up keeping all of these, as much as I do like each and every one. Let's be honest, I don't need 14 or 15 Switch consoles in here. I can barely even display that many. What I'm going to do, I'm probably going to pick my favorite like top half, and all the rest I'm gonna end up selling. If you have any interest in buying any of these, give me a follow on Instagram. That's where I'm going to post them for sale first. I like to sell things to my followers, you know, before I put them on eBay or Amazon, especially something like this. So if that's something that you are interested in, just know that that is where they're going to be posted first. Up next, we have the Fortnite Edition Switch. This one just came out fairly recently. I think like November, was able to get my hands on a few. I traded some of them away, kept this one. The interesting thing to note about this is that the 2,000 V-Bucks inside the like Fortnite code is actually worth a good bit. I sold the code out of this console for like 150 bucks pretty recently on eBay, which makes, since I did get this for original retail of $300, that makes this a sub $200 Switch that I got to add to the collection, making it the cheapest of the whole lot, except for the Switch Lite, which I definitely appreciate. I really like the design of the Switch itself on this as well. I think the box art is good, but these Joy-Con colors are just absolutely top tier for me. I love that they're so different from anything that we've seen. I love this one little design feature of the bus with the balloons over that home button. I think that's just a really nice, classy little touch. Here's the back of it there as well. So yeah, this would honestly rank fairly high for me. I like the design. I'm not a Fortnite guy personally. That's why I sold my code, but I love being able to add cool stuff like this to the collection for relatively cheap because of it, so thanks Nintendo. Then here we've got the second most recent acquisition to this collection, the Mario Edition Switch. This I also did manage to pick up for original retail. These have not been all that scarce since its release. Got a pretty minimalistic design both on the box and on the console itself. I know some people are probably into that. Personally, you probably have guessed already, I'm not. I think that this is a better edition than the other two Mario Edition Switches that you'll see me review later on in this video. I like that it included the new carrying case. But honestly, I think that there could have been some cooler stuff done here. Like, I like the blue and red theming. I would have loved to see more done with, I think it would have been so cool to have, for example, like blue Joy-Cons, but the thumbsticks on them are actually yellow to signify like the buttons on the overalls. I think it would have been really cool to have like a Mario or a Cap design on the back of the console itself. I mean, there's so much that you could have done with this console that they just didn't. They were just kind of like red, blue, put it on the shelves. So anyway, to me, this edition is not bad, not great. The good thing is, at least at the time of filming this video, you can still get this pretty easily for $300, which is nice. All right, up next, we have another one that you guys may not have heard of before, a little bit of a hipster special edition Switch here. This is the Disney Tsum Tsum Festival Edition Switch. You can see this has got to be the most minimalistic box design of any of them. I'm not a huge fan, but I do really like the pink and purple Joy-Cons. That's really cool to see. Look at the back of this box. This is crazy. Just white, just little dots. I don't really understand why you would pick the Disney Tsum Tsum Festival Edition Switch to go more minimalistic. I mean, for goodness sake, you've got Stitch, you've got Mickey, Minnie, and Winnie the Pooh, all of which you could have incorporated heavily into this design, and you chose to go with white? Essentially, what I'm really trying to say here is, give me a Winnie the Pooh Switch, Nintendo! This was your chance! Anyway, I'm not bitter. Don't worry about me. All in all, I think that this special edition is good, not great. I like that it's a relatively obscure game. Maybe this is just a lot bigger of a game in Japan than it is here. But I think that theming a Switch after it is, I don't know, just kind of a cool idea. Again, I just wish they would have gone farther. Nintendo, give us some more bombastic designs. I mean, we know that Sony and Microsoft aren't going to do that, for goodness sake. All right, next we've got the Let's Go Pikachu Edition Switch. This is a very recent addition to the console collection. My story for this and for the Eevee one, honestly, are not all that interesting. I was just getting antsy to make this video, and then I ended up looking on eBay for a while for a decent deal. They both ran me in the neighborhood of like $550, I believe. Have definitely gone up in price since their original release. They came with the Pokeball Plus, which I think is a pretty cool feature, and I absolutely love the design of these consoles. I love the big old like main character, mascot character on the front there. I love how the Joy-Cons and the Joy-Con strips, this is something that Nintendo doesn't do with special editions enough, is special edition strips to enhance the theming of the overall console. But having the main and highlight colors of Pikachu and Eevee for these Joy-Cons, along with both of them on the dock itself, I think is just absolutely brilliant. The only criticism that I would have had of this is I would have liked to see more done with the console design itself. Like, to me, the fact that this is just a regular old Switch tablet is a little bit of a miss, but you know, small marks against it overall. I really like this console, as well as the Japanese counterpart that I have over here. Fun fact, the Eevee edition of the English printing of this Switch is actually a few $100s more expensive, which is part of the reason that I did decide to get the Japanese version of this one. These are still in like the $550 range, which I think is, you know, not a bad price. And also I think it's really cool just to see the Japanese text on this one. This to me is, behind the Monster Hunter Japan exclusive, probably my favorite Japanese Switch that I have, just because of, like, this to me is much more Nintendo than this, right? Like, I mean, this is nice. I like the, like, thick fonts and the colors and everything on that. But this just really screams everything that I love about Nintendo and Pokemon. It's bright, it's colorful, it's fun, it's more out there, and I really like that. Next up, we have the Mario Odyssey Edition Switch, which definitely also has a special place in my heart because, like I said earlier, top 2 games of all time. I do really like the box design of this. I think both the front and the back are just really solid. I love those like midair action cap throws. I love all the capturable characters back here that make this game so memorable. Again, this is one that came with a special edition little carrying case, which is different than the newer Mario Edition carrying case. But I'm starting to sound like a broken record. I almost don't even want to say it. Could have done more here, Nintendo. One kind of fun fact for you guys is that actually the Joy-Cons between this and this version and also this original Mario version are all slightly different shades of red. So if you are a Joy-Con collector, I apologize for telling you that because now you may have a couple more sets to collect. But yeah, I really wanted to just be in love with this console because it's Mario Odyssey. I can't quite be all the way there because look at this. Look at this Switch and dock. I mean, it's completely vanilla. But nonetheless, it's not as bad as some of the other ones just because I love Mario Odyssey so much and I think the box design is really good. Then I guess I'll go ahead and talk about the original Mario Edition Switch. I believe that this may have been a Nintendo eShop exclusive. I actually got this thing on Facebook Marketplace for like $270, $280, which I thought was fantastic, except it did not have the box. So I had to order the box and inserts separately online. But all told, to be just over $300 for a special edition Switch system is not bad. This one would really probably be at the bottom of my rankings though, because not only does the box design kind of stink, also the console design kind of stinks. I mean, again, this was 2017. They weren't doing all that much with their designs, but come on, Nintendo, surely you can do better than this. Then finally, folks, last but not least, we have the OG, at least the OG for me, the Animal Crossing Edition Switch. To me, I think it's not just the fact that this was my first ever special edition Switch that makes me say I think this is the best special edition Switch objectively ever created. I mean, everything from the special edition dock, you can see you've got a little bit of subtle flare on the back of the tablet itself. You've got these fantastic pastel colored Joy-Cons, which not only were a significant departure from any color palette that we've seen with Joy-Cons up until that point, but they also complement the theming of the game so well with the island and the sky and the ocean. This was an incredibly relaxing game, and these are some really relaxing colors. I love that they have the custom Joy-Con strips, as I mentioned earlier. The white, I think, goes super well both with the dock and again with the theming, the clouds, and the game. And then these Joy-Con straps, we're getting really into the weeds here, are my favorite Joy-Con straps I've ever seen. They're not just a single color, they have kind of a cool pattern to them, which I think is just really fantastic. And I also just love that this dock itself goes farther than any other dock before or since really has, and I want to see more of this. Folks, I'm not even that big of an Animal Crossing fan, to be honest. I only put probably, 5 hours or so into that game. But this special edition console, I totally understand the mania why people wanted this console so badly, and I'm glad that Nintendo has printed so many more of it since then so that everybody who did originally want one is able to get one, because this thing truly is just a thing of beauty. And folks, that's going to officially wrap up this complete special edition Switch collection video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I have enjoyed collecting and displaying and just talking about these things. This video has been an absolute blast to make. So thank you guys for supporting this video and the channel by watching this far. Really appreciate you all. And until next time, I will catch you guys on the flip.